Okay, okay, okay. Let us let us uncover, right? Let us discover. Let us discover things. Let us discover the pot. So let us discover it and let us uncover things. Because that's the whole essence of life, right? Discovery, right? Knowing, knowledge, and putting this knowledge into use. And therefore, that is called wisdom, right? Isn't that the whole essence of life, right? Discovery, discover channel. We use a lot of things every day. We do a lot of things every day. For instance, me, I spend money every day. I eat every day, So I wear clothes every day. Okay, where did clothes come from? For instance, some of the clothes that we're wearing, it's like most of them are like animal fur. Not all. There should be other ways of creating clothing on things, you know. Maybe from wood, getting silk from wood and trees. And trees. Yes, you can get silk from wood and trees, but some also uses animal skin and animal fur as clothes. Most of this leather we see out here, you know, most of them are even, the skin of a bear or something. But who knows? But anyway, the life that we're living right now is a life of discovery. We discover. You need to discover what is money. Why do I love money? Why do the world need money? Where the money come from? How the money came to be? You know, what created money? How did we create money by using, you know, fibers and cottons? And using these fibers and cottons and using it to create what paper. Then paper. Then we add paper. We print ink on this paper. Then we went out there and forced people to accept our paper. Yes, right. We went out there and forced people to accept our paper. We forced them because there was no other way. What do you want us to do? They would listen to us, so we had to force them to use our paper, to spend our paper, you know. And not only force, we didn't just force them. We were also smart about it because what we gave people what they wanted. For instance, right? For instance, right? People want to eat, right? People want to eat. People want good stuff. People want good inventions. So we went into the world, and we presented what we wanted to say. We presented food. We presented accessories and everything, and people wanted it, you know, but they couldn't get it. The only way they could get it is by what? Using our money. They need to get it by using what? Our money. So how do you get our money? You need to work to get our money. you know so they've organized places that people can work, and after working we give them our money, and after getting our money they come back and use it to buy our food you know so that is how everything starts, right? Everything was inflated at some point. That's how money works, right? So that's how we created a marketplace where we could sell whatever we want to sell, but you can only buy stuff with our money. If you bring with the legal money, our money, you know so we give people what they want, and in exchange people gave us value. They give value to our money. They give value to our money. They give value to our stuff. So it's give value and get value. you know and if people don't want to give us value, we can force them to give us value. We can either do this in a smart way, or this blood. So life is all about discovering, right? I mean, what will you be if you're living life and without discovering yourself, without discovering the world you live, the money you spend, that you so much love? What does it give you? Independence. It gives you individuality. It gives you power. It gives you, you know, responsibility. You know, it gives you freedom to be able to act in a world that money makes go round. In a civilization that money makes go round. yeah. It's an acceptance, right? So in a civilization when money makes go what the world go round. So uh it's the world of discovery. It's the world of discovery. Because money didn't just made itself, and you know we human made it. The founding fathers, whoever they are, we don't know. So and it didn't just start from paper, right? It started from cowries. I heard at some point they were using cowries, they were using this and that for a means of exchange. You know, until they brought up the paper idea, in which the paper to make sure that everybody don't have it, like, because it's easy to print money. To make sure that there is originality about it. This paper are being printed out silver plates, original silver. These paper are being printed out what? They are being printed out a silver plate. So they are original out of particular silver plate. So this the money, the shape of the money and everything has been printed on these silver plates. You know, and this silver plate is from where all the original notes comes from. So if someone prints something from another place and wasn't used by the silver plates, there's gonna be a mistake. So that was the way to secure the originality of the what of the money. So, so if you got yourself a silver plate, maybe you got one, just go steal one or get one. you know you're in a good you're living. I'm sure in this crazy world that I live in, some people do have a silver plate. you know they just putting money out of nowhere. I mean, you're working every single day, but these people are just waking up and putting their money, like the bank. I mean, they are the one that created this world. What is what is I got? They can actually keep one for themselves. Come on, it's just like you creating stuff and just putting one for yourself. And your family, your generation. And I'm finding some ways to make it legal. Finding some ways to put money, and you find some way to make it legal. Money laundering. You know, you find some ways to make it legal. Crazy as world we're living in. Like, some people are working hard right now, and some people are just printing out money. uh, so, and now, if you want to, the legality of the money, right? So it's crazy. And each country, right? Each country cannot just go about printing money out. They have to have enough resources, enough gold. Because they use gold and diamond. They use gold mainly to as reserve. Like, it's the amount of gold you have that directly correlate to the amount of money you can print. That directly correlate to how um the the value of your currency. So if some other country has more 20 times, 30 times, 100 times gold than you gold reserves than a country have, then that country has more currency, has more value than the one that has lesser gold. And and that country can actually print out more money than the one that has lesser gold. And I'm sure these people had all the gold in their pocket before they before they started this. It's just like you, before you start something, right? You make sure that I'm the one that have the biggest gold. No other country have the biggest gold. So, and they'll and they'll make sure that most of all the golds that is being manufactured in the world, right? They'll make sure, like, they've got some percentage, kind of securing your future. That's why you got most foreign countries still in Africa. They're still in Africa getting some gold, getting some fish. There's some things, you know. But I don't blame these people for this thing. You secure yourself. That's how it is. You secure yourself. As Africans, we can also secure ourselves. You know, since you feel like there's nothing you can do, with uh with politics and everything. What we have to do as Africans is to secure ourselves, and by securing ourselves individually, as we grow, we can see you can secure the country, you can secure, but by securing yourself you secure the country, so it's if each individuals like do their job, you know stand up, you know the whole country is going to stand up at some point. But anyway, that's how it is, so the reason for this speak up is not because of I wanted to talk about money reserves and everything. The reason for it is like life is a discovery channel, right? You need to discover things, you need to know things, right? It's not just the physical things. You need to know the things that rule over you. You need to know them. You need to know what education is. You need to know what you know all these things are what you've been taught while you were growing up. You had no choice but to accept some of these things. While you were growing up, you had no choice but to accept some of these things. You didn't even want to accept them in the first place. I'm telling you, like, you rather not go to some church or some places. You rather not do anything when you were growing up, but you had no choice but to go because you were forced to go. Because your parents were also forced to go, so you were also forced to go, even though you didn't want to go. You had no choice when you were young, but right now that you're getting old, you grew, you have a choice. You can make a choice. You can actually make a choice now that you've grown. But most people, they tend to not make that choice because their choices were taken from them when they were little, and they haven't gotten it back till date. They haven't gotten it back till date. Even some might act like they've gotten it back, but they haven't gotten their will back. They haven't gotten their will to stand for something, to be themselves, to be human, to be an higher animal, to be an animal, to be different. To not follow the society norms, to not follow the rules and what is must be done, to not follow the mandatory stuff. You know, to do things quite differently. So some people, even till now, we live in a society where most people will have been taken from them from when they were a little child. Through religion, through education, through marriage, right? Through a lot of things. Education and science are the same book. Their decisions have been taken away from them even since when they were a kid, right? There was a movie I watched, right? There was a very crazy movie I watched. You know, I think this movie was a Yoruba movie, and I don't know why someone, I don't know, maybe it's cool. I don't know, maybe this actually happens, or maybe it was just because this movie, like, the younger brother couldn't get married because of the elder brother wasn't married yet. I don't even support marriage in the first place, but just look at that. Just look at whatever that is. See that tradition, see that culture, see that nonsense, see that held back. You can't do this because of this person having what has that person's life got to do with mine? You fight for yourself. And this guy that acted the movie just went along and play along. He didn't even fight for himself. He didn't even bullshit the whole culture and traditions and stand out like, what the fuck? What has that got to do with me? If someone doesn't get married, it's their own cup of tea. My life is different from their life. If someone hasn't done this, it has nothing to do with me. Standing up and fight for yourself, discovering you know, elevating beyond culture, tradition, and beliefs, that are not serving us anymore, that wasn't even serving us in the first place, that was somehow instilled in us by some uneducated, you know, you know, by some people that didn't want to get educated, by people that didn't want to get educated, by some God knows what. So it was a Yoruba movie though. It was a Nigerian movie, but I just made that reference like to. So life is all about discover, right? You need to discover things, discover yourself, discover most of everything that you were taught while growing up, because you didn't have no time to choose while growing up. You couldn't choose. Your parents choose for you. If this person is this, you couldn't choose. Some people are even in the middle. They are doing both because their parents is this and that, so they are doing both. They are like, okay, I'm going to do both of them. You know, they have no choice to even choose for themselves, to even discover things for themselves. Your parents too, they have no choice too, because they were also they have no choice to time to choose for yourself, and even till when they get old, they couldn't have the time to choose because because they keep falling into different types of traps and after different traps, and they couldn't even make a choice. And now when you were born, they do the same thing to you. And if any child, God forbid, try to break this circle, oh my God, you're done. You're going to be you're going to, you're going to, oh my God, I can't even say, I don't even know because the word is so big. You're going to be hunt down. You're going, if any child dares to break any of these laws, any of these rules, any of this whatever, uh you, you are going to be smeared. Your name is going to be smeared. You're going to be the talk of the town. You're going to be the talk of the town, the one that tries to break, the one that's trying to uh, uh, break traditions and cultures and in way of life. Your name is going to be smeared around the community, around your friends and colleagues. You're going to be fucked up, you know. You're going to be a scapegoat. They're going to use you as a scapegoat to let everybody knows, the rest knows that if you try to to break any of this circle or whatever, this long family tradition and culture, you are in trouble. They're gonna use you as a scapegoat, and the rest don't want to be in your shoes because they see how you're treated. Because they see how you're treated, right? They see how you're treated. So God forbid you try to break any of this, because now you're challenging these parents. You're trying to tell these parents or these people that that they don't know better, and most of them want to show you that they know better. They were born before you, so we know better than you. Most of them want to show you that they were born before you, so they know better than you, and that's not the way life works. you know a little child that have been doing the work, that is doing the real work. I don't want a little child that is living the normal life, is okay. I want to say doing the real work, you know can hold more wisdom than than a parent that have been, than than the parents can hold more wisdom than the parents. Now the parent, that doesn't mean the parent doesn't hold wisdom, because they've lived. Wisdom of age is not to be messed with. Wisdom experience, wisdom is wisdom. But it can the parent also be wise enough to know that there are some things, that life is full of dynamics, that even though uh they hold wisdom, there are things them too that might not know, because they don't know the soul in which they brought into life. You didn't bring, the souls that come into life wasn't like you of your don't a lot of people get things twisted. They think that maybe the souls that come into, the children that they brought to life was like of of part of them. No, they are not. These souls are not part of you. Okay, let's just say they are part of you, because in life everything is connected. White, black, everything is connected. Every people is connected. The trees and the animals and everything is connected. True, but most of all these parents, they feel like it's part of them. Any child that come into the world is part of them. It's not like they're feeling like this child is not something different. No, sometimes the soul that that you give birth to, the person that you give birth to, has nothing to do with you. 100% has nothing to do with you. That's why some parents might give birth to to a child that will be so fucking smart, you know, and this parent might not be as smart as the child, you know. Not that the parents, like, they are also smart, but they have the tendency to be smart because they have the body. Because the fact that you give birth to a smart child, that have been doing the work, and that smart child adapted to that your DNA, it means your DNA is capable. Your DNA is very, very capable of being smart, but you are not using it. You're not breaking that limit. You're not evolving. So that child comes to show you that, hey, see, your DNA is fine, bro. This DNA is sweet and I'm loving it. So using your DNA to do great things. And now, using the DNA to do great things. to say great things, to discover great things that the parents couldn't even ever dream to discover. So, so this illusion of thinking you know better than your children, you know, it's an illusion, you know. So no, I'm not a parent. No, I'm not a parent, so I can't give an advice on how to teach uh, a child. But as you, the parent, right? Why growing up, you might instill your way of life into a child. But when the child grew up, you need to give the child their own uh rights to choose what they want, and whatever they choose, you just love them for it. That's why you see most in most countries, right? If the child is 18 or 21, they can legally move out of the house to make their own decisions and live their own life as their own principles and everything. It's civil rights, you know. So you might have instilled your own this. Now you need to give the child his own to think. If the child now accept your way of life, now you yes. And if the child doesn't, cool. you know be there as what you are. Don't let your way of life, don't let your marriage, don't let your religion, don't let your whatever, don't let it come between in you and your child. Let there be space. Let there be space between you and what you hold there, between all this, uh between all this, your religion, your marriage, your this. Let there be space between that and your child. Don't let any of that or society, whatever, come between you and that child. It has to be sacred ground. So so I'll keep stretching it, right? I'll keep stretching it. I'll keep stretching it, right? Keep on stretching it. So, uh you know and again, why 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 living with people, right? Like family, friends, and everything. I'm not the type of person that someone will say something stupid, right? And I'll be like, hey, and I'll be okay with it. I don't think I'm the type. I can't do that, especially if it's someone that I care about. If the person says something that is not cool, I'll tell the person, hey, that's not cool. Don't say that. And I've always been that. I remember when a sibling of mine was saying something about his friend, talking about money, like he doesn't have. I would say, hey, don't say that. You don't say that about your friend. Talk less of your family. You don't belittle them. You don't big. You don't do that. I corrected him in his front. Told him not to say that to his friend. So if I say don't say that to your friend, that means you can never say that to your family. You can never belittle your family, say they had money before but not anymore. You can never say shit like that to your friend, nor your family. I corrected him, and I've always been like that. I've always called people out. People didn't like that about me, trust me. They hated it about me. I've always called people out. I've always called religion out, called science out, called education out, called marriage out. I called a lot of things out. People hate that. because there are people that hold all these things so dear, so tight. Like they see anybody just trying to, you know, tell them that all these things are actually, you know, vavavu, are actually not even good for your health in a way. They want that, they try to destroy that person. Some even go to the length of, you know, trying to kill someone because of what the person says. You think it's one big um organization that killed a star, but you just be surprised it was just someone that doesn't just like their way of life, just some troubled kid in the neighborhood, maybe some religious troubled kid, some science troubled, you know, some, you know, some people that just don't like the things the kids say, or the